Wicked Manors shows the dangerous cliff that Wilton Manors businesses may be at. Wicked Manors may have brought to the surface what has been rumbling about for months. Some businesses in Wilton Manors have to face some financial difficulties. The Halloween event closes Wilton Drive for a street festival that attracts thousands every year. But social media has been ablaze with questions of excessive security and barricades that impede walking traffic, impacting business on the drive. Wilton Creamery and Bona Italian Restaurant are two businesses that commented on how Wicked Manors adversely affected their business operations. Wilton Creamery wrote on their social media, quote, "Due to the losses last night and the numbers I am short for next month's plus, we are discontinuing small batches for the unforeseeable future and canceling a few holiday limited batches. I cannot invest in slower moving items right now, even taking myself out of payroll for November. I can't make the numbers work. We are not closing. We are not asking for handouts. We are not starting a GoFundMe. We do not want you to buy gift cards that you will never use. We are just changing our normal operations for the rest of the year as we have a budget issue due to losing a significant amount from our normal Halloween sales," end quote. Local business and philanthropic leader Glen Weinzimer expressed his concerns on excessive security plans and how they affect businesses on Wilton Drive. Glen said, quote, "Last night, Wilton Manors, the crowds were out and high-spirited. There was lots of security and even more barricades. Small businesses were definitely hurt on the drive and glad the charities made money. Security was over the top again. I love our officers and saw all our proud men and women in blue doing the job they were assigned to. So no digs on any of them. I see these barricades as more of a hindrance to security than anything," end quote. Other business owners also talked to Queer News Tonight on the condition of confidentiality and fear of backlash. Many comments were very pessimistic on the future of the drive. The issues seem to be growing on a complex mix of problems facing Wilton Manors' financial viability. For example, the cost of rent and the viability of small businesses to operate on the drive seems to be creating shockwaves among these business owners. Rent costs have skyrocketed, especially since COVID. J. Foy, Wilton Collective, was forced to relocate off the drive because of rising costs to operate. Some business entities that have tried to incorporate outside expansion of the building projects have been told no by building owners unless they signed a new higher lease. Some buildings have told prospective new businesses they could only have a short-term lease because they were looking for more lucrative renters. Restaurants, Tie Me Up and Bubbles and Pearls have both closed. Bravo's top chef, Josie, from Bubbles and Pearls, said very publicly that the environment on Wilton Drive was no longer viable to operate. Claudia Castillo Art Studio was forced to relocate because of significant rent increases. A prominent bar and food business owner on Wilton Drive told Queer News Tonight, quote, "Operating a business on Wilton Drive has almost got to the point of being financially impossible. Our gay community wants value, and business that tries to provide that value is stressed by landlords and suppliers that no longer are loyal to the gay community or our businesses. They want us to move to bring in higher rent," end quote. So the skirmish that appears from Wicked Manors seems to be just a symptom of a much greater issue that the LGBTQ plus community is facing in Wilton Manors. You know, this truly makes me sad all around, right? Wicked Manors is just an incredible time. It's fun for families. Thousands of people go out. But these businesses on the drive, they really count on those high surge days like Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival and Wicked Manors to generate that kind of money that maybe they have lost at other times. I've heard from many business owners that summer was not easy on the drive, that summer was very difficult for a lot of businesses. And it breaks my heart to hear of places like Tie Me Up and Bubbles and Pearls that have had to close. You know, I'm good friends with Claudia Castillo, and she's an incredible person and human, and she does so much for the drive. And she had to relocate her whole entire art gallery because, according to what she told me, her rent was going to double. Double, folks, not a couple hundred, not, but double. Who can afford that? So Halloween, on Halloween, something horrible happened in Orlando. I know that we all heard about it, right? There were about 100,000 people out on the streets, and a gunman decided to shoot and kill 2 people and injure dozens more. Things like that happen, and because things like that happen is why we need such high security, why we need all these barricades and all that. But there's got to be some kind of common ground so everybody's happy on this. What do you boys think?
So maybe we get a meeting with the producers, the business owners on the drive, and make it better next year, because there's always room for improvement, and our community always works together. So that's how we solve problems, by working together in unity.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of a larger issue, you know, in terms of like, you know, number one, we've come out of a pandemic 4 years ago. And for myself personally, you know, I bought my home in 2020 and I bought it at a very reasonable rate. And within the last 4 years within my condo association, it has more than doubled. You know, expenses have more than doubled in the last 4 years, and I've been conscious of this. So, you know, and I know for my organization, you know, when we go into venues, you know, a couple of years ago, you know, the rents, you know, prices are not what they are now. They're doubled as well. So there's a big ripple effect in all of this. But there's also, you know, what in the quote too, where they're saying that the landlords and suppliers no longer are loyal to the gay community. That's a separate issue. So yeah, if you're price gouging because, you know, it's LGBTQ plus business, then that's wrong.
And there's another component in there too, which with referencing with bubbles and pearls and timing up closing. This happens all over the country. You know, gay people move in, clean it up, make it cute, and then it's no longer ours. You know, because that's what happened to Chelsea. You know, all over the place.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's another. The point is that there are so many components to this story.
Yeah.
And where do you find the balance? Where do you try to make everyone as happy as possible? Because you're not going to make everyone 100% happy. You're not going to be able to offer every person everything they want or desire. There has to be compromise.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but you're never going to make everybody happy, like you said. And as a business owner, like what you just hit on, you're getting hit on all sides. Your landlord's messing with you, and also you have to count on the patrons coming in, and you know, I mean, it's a lot to deal with.
Imagine if we get tariffs. Sorry, take it. I mean, you know, just to make it about that thing. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but
no, of course. I mean, I think it's a lot, and I would hate. Security is imperative. Security is needed, you know, and at the highest caliber, and that is what we do in Wilton Manors. We make sure that our people are safe, that our people are secure, that you're going to have a family-friendly time without any kind of danger. So. Where does that, I mean, I'm with William. I think everybody needs to go back to square one, sit down and outline where, you know, so everybody's happy to some degree. Barricades are important, right? You know,
and who's in charge, like, for example, who's in charge of where the barricades go? Is that the PD, or is it in part the committee that does the parade, the festivities?
Yeah.
You know. Is
it the city? Like, who is it?
I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of all those things, but maybe those things need to be addressed, you know,
or ironed out. You know, as from every experience, you know, even coming out of a gala myself, you know, as well as things went, you know, there are things that you have to look at from another perspective, you know, so that it becomes better next time. So, you know, these type of, you know, incidences, hopefully, you know, in the planning stages for next year, that they'll take those into consideration.
Yeah.
But I do feel for the businesses too. I mean, it's a tough thing, you know.
Listen, I love Wilton Creamery. Their doggy food, their doggy ice cream is the best, okay? And I would hate to lose them. You understand? Like, when is enough's enough? Sometimes people are just like, okay, I can't. I'm just going to move Wilton Manors adjacent because I can't afford to be on the drive anymore. You know, and that's a loss to our community. It's loss. You know, there's all these big ventures coming up right now in Wilton Manors, right? I would hate that that's really happening. You know, this is a business owner's experience, right? If he's saying that they're giving out short-term leases because they're waiting for the bigger pig, that's not right either.
No. It's Wynwood waiting to happen.
That's gouging. You know, and that's very unfair to these places, especially the people like Claudia or the people like Glen that have been here for years supporting. So I think definitely something needs to be done. At the end of the day, this was a fundraiser, folks, right? So for the people that were upset about paying $13 to get in, get over yourself, okay? $13 is not even a drink in South Beach, okay? $13, I can't even park my car anywhere in Miami for $13, okay? And you've got all these festivities, all these beautiful platforms, these people, these incredible DJs. I mean, there was so much going on for Wicked Manors, and it was open to everybody, and people had a great time. It rained, and people were still out there having a blast. You know, we would be upset if we didn't have a Wicked Manors. And then there'd be a whole outcry about that. You know, support what we have. There are people in other states that wish they had a Wicked Manors that was so family friendly and so LGBTQ plus inclusive. So just be careful who you target. You know, you just never know.